All right. Good evening, everybody. Friday, August 6th, TGI Friday. We have one more week before we count the ballots for the contract offering. You really need to get your ballots in the mail ASAP. If you don't have your ballot in the mail by Monday, there's a likelihood it will not get to the post office by Thursday night. So when we pick them up on Friday, they will be there. You need to have your voices heard. We need a large turnout to send a message to City Hall specific to phase 2 of these negotiations. On the contract subject and the mailer, I will tell you there's a report generated. A good citizen called us to tell us they found a mail bin with a couple ballots in their garbage can. It was during a board meeting, so one of the trustees went over there, two of the trustees went over there actually, and met the police, had a police report generated. The ballots were recovered. The officers whose ballots those were notified that their ballots would be spoiled and they'd have to come vote in person. The post office and police were also notified, and they're going to try and find out exactly who threw those in there. Stay tuned, but it was only 2 ballots that we know of at this point. A couple other quick points here. CNN posted a story a couple days ago about the January 6th Washington, D.C. Capitol incident and one of our officers, stating that the FOP and named one of our vice presidents specifically were cooperating and vowing to fight. I can tell you, we went from the beginning of this incident that we were not going to defend this officer. This was an off-duty incident. He would be on his own, period. What was turned into a false story started with a question from the member to that vice president on the process of the FOID card and getting it reinstated along with being put back on the payroll. The vice president answered the member's question like he would anybody else's question. That email response became part of a court filing. It in no way, shape, or form constituted the lodge defending him or spending a penny on his defense. It hasn't happened. It will not happen. CNN absolutely published a false story. You can see on the lodge website there was a notice sent to CNN demanding an immediate retraction and an apology for that vice president who they named. It's disgusting. But the ironic part of all of this is the Sun-Times piggybacked with an editorial comment about it. And not surprisingly, our mayor, who chastised the former president every single time he got on Twitter for spouting what she would call nonsense, could not wait after that CNN story came out to retweet it and then blast the FOP leadership as blowing some kind of dog whistle in support of violent insurrectionists. She couldn't be farther from the truth, but you think she's going to apologize for tweeting a false story? Nope, she's too good for that. I guess nobody should be surprised. Lastly, I will say that there was an officer charged this week for an incident that happened a year and a half ago with aggravated battery. It's rather, disheartening to say the least that I guess because that member is a Lodge 7 member, the state's attorney's office seems to want to charge Lodge 7 members specifically here. Don't forget, it was only a few years ago that we had an off-duty sergeant shoot an unarmed teenager in the middle of the night who was no threat whatsoever to him, and there was no charges filed there. He was given a pretty light discipline sentence from the police board, a sweetheart deal, but yet here is our member who was involved in a physical altercation, somebody who was an offender who was an aggravated battery offender to two police officers, and a discharge of a weapon occurred, and they have the nerve to charge her with a felony. It just goes to show you the mindset of the state's attorney's office and why the elections in 2022 for Cook County Board President matter. Toni Preckwinkle needs to go. She keeps supporting this narrative and this rogue Cook County Prosecutor's Office, and that will send a message to Kim Foxx in 2024 that she is not going to get by the skin of her teeth or the color of her skin like she did in 2020. Enough is enough. This crap has to stop. With that, have a safe night, enjoy your weekend, and stay tuned for the results next Friday.